Hi everyone. As you know, about a year ago I published a baking tutorial video for keto bread. That's a long one, and ever since I've been receiving requests for me to do shorter videos on tutorial. So I'm basically going to do that, breaking it up into a few parts. So this will be the first one. Now, have you ever experienced your keto bread turning out to be like that? Frankly, these are all my failures. And until today, I still experience them, especially when I'm experimenting with new recipes. So it's quite common if you experience all these issues, especially when you're starting out to make keto bread. So that's why understanding the ingredients of keto bread is very important. You see, because keto bread is so complicated, we are using all alternative ingredients, and if you don't understand about the ingredients, then you tend to make more mistakes. Okay. Now, one of the key ingredient or the most important ingredient is psyllium husk. So just for today, I want to focus on sharing with you about psyllium husk. So, what is psyllium husk? As you know, all my recipes are gluten-free. So I chose to use psyllium husk as the replacement for gluten because it is actually the best replacement. Now, psyllium husk is actually a fibrous seed coating of a plant which is native to India. Psyllium is soluble in water. It expands and becomes sticky and glutinous. It acts as the glue by holding everything together and provides elasticity to shape the dough. Okay. Now, of course, the elasticity is not as flexible as gluten, but it just gives enough of elasticity to shape the dough until a certain extent. Okay. It also makes the bread more bread-like. Well, you will notice that in most of my recipes, I state the need to add hot or boiling water, right? Now, the hot water actually helps to activate the glue properties of the psyllium, and the hotter the water, the faster it will activate the glue properties. Okay. Now, this process actually makes the psyllium absorbs the water, and then the dough will bulk up. Okay, so basically this will lead to a bigger volume of dough and a bigger loaf of bread. Okay. Now, because of this glue property, the bread tends to feel a little wet and sticky after baking. But once it's toasted, it becomes dry and crispy. The next thing you need to know is what is the difference between psyllium husk and psyllium powder. Okay. Now, these are the two types of psyllium husk. This is the whole psyllium husk. Of course, you have it in many brands in the market. This is the one I use, and the origin is from India. And this is the whole husk. Okay. Now, this is psyllium husk powder. Okay. I got this online, but I guess it's you can also get it in many different brands. Right. Now, these are the two types. Okay. For baking, it is highly recommended that you use the whole psyllium husk. This is very effective, but you must grind it until half its original volume. Then only you weigh it. Okay. Of course, you can grind in bulk and you can store it in the fridge or freezer. It lasts you a long time, but it's very convenient. You can use it anytime. Okay. Now, if you grind the whole psyllium husk, for example, you have to grind it properly. If you grind 1 cup, you put 1 cup into your grinder, you have to end up with half a cup. Okay? So 1 cup and you end up with half a cup. And it only takes a few pulses. Okay? Just a few pulses with the grinder and you end up with half a cup. No. If you over grind, you will end up like this. So imagine half cup, if you get this, that means you have overgrind the psyllium husk. Okay. Now when this happens, this becomes powdery. It's very much close to psyllium powder, so it becomes very concentrated. Okay. Now if you use the same amount of this quite powdery texture, if the recipe says 27 grams of ground psyllium husk, and if you grind until this fine, you will end up with a very dense and wet and sticky bread. Okay, so that is one of the problems. Do not overgrind, because when I ask people when they have a problem, did you grind the whole psyllium husk? They say yes, and then they say, how much did you grind? They say, oh, I just grind until powdery, that's all. So that is the problem. You need to grind from 1 cup and end up with half a cup. That's it. It only takes a few pulses. While a commercial pre-ground psyllium powder is very convenient, but you need to know that you actually need very little, because it is super concentrated. Okay, they have ground it so fine, it is very concentrated. So you only need about 1 to 2 teaspoons for a loaf of bread. Okay, because if you put too much of this, your bread will end up super dense, super wet and sticky, and it also will not rise properly. Okay, now so you need to know that this is super concentrated and you only need very little of it. Some people, a lot of people do not know what's the difference with the whole and the powder husk. So if the recipe calls for 27 grams of psyllium husk after grinding, and if you use 27 grams of husk powder, you will get a very, very super dense bread without any pockets, no airy pockets, and it will not rise as well. Okay, in fact sometimes it becomes so heavy at the bottom, and because we have some rising agent like baking powder or yeast, the bottom cannot rise, the top tries to rise, and that's how you get a hollow top. Dense bottom, hollow top, just like this picture. Now why do we still need baking powder and yeast as rising agent? Right? Now gluten has high protein content, which makes the bread rise so well, whereas psyllium husk is mostly fiber with not much of protein content. So that's why we need to add more rising agent such as baking powder, yeast, and also protein from egg whites. Okay. Now of course, successfully baked keto bread may not be comparable to what gluten does to bread in terms of texture, but it is still a much healthier option. Okay. Now, if you ask, is there an alternative for psyllium husk? Frankly, I haven't found one. I have tried xanthan gum, I have tried flax seeds, I have tried chia seeds, but nothing comes close to what psyllium husk can do. So in conclusion, I want to say this: psyllium husk is still the most important ingredient for keto bread, and if you use it correctly, it will be a game changer. You will get it right every time, and that's exactly what people tell me. When you watch this video, you will find that you will have more success in your keto bread. Okay. Now, if you are new to keto bread, please do not jump right into trying to make keto yeast bread. Okay, because you may feel disappointed and you may give up. Right. So if you're new, start with a simple and easy keto bread bun recipe, then slowly progress to keto loaf bread, and then finally, if you are good enough, you can try the yeast bread. Okay. Alright, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part. Bye.